Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear participants. Welcome to this session of textual study of the Quran. We have been studying Surah Anam. We have finished until verse 92 of the Surah, and today we'll be beginning with the 93rd Surah. And this Surah, of course, as we know, addresses the idolaters, and it chides them on their behavior, and the basic ailment or the basic diversity that they are going through in this regard is the fact that the Almighty has chastised them for the fact that when they associate partners with God, they have no proof of that, and hence this is something which is unforgivable. If you have proof of something, God says, I would have been the first person to inform you if I have any partner, and in the absence of any such proof, it is something that you are doing your own self, and hence it is something that cannot be forgiven. So that is why polytheism has been regarded as a great sin. If a person continues to indulge in it knowingly, intentionally, that he has no proof of it, then the Almighty says that it is unforgivable. So here in verse 93, the words are, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنِ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا أَوْ قَالَ أُوحِيَ إِلَيَّ وَلَمْ يُوحَى إِلَيْهِ شَيْءٌ وَمَنْ قَالَ سَأُنزِلُ مِثْلَ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ وَلَوْ تَرَى إِذِ الظَّالِمُونَ فِي غَمَرَاتِ الْمَوْتِ وَالْمَلَائِكَةُ بَاسِطُو أَيْدِيهِمْ أَخْرِجُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ الْيَوْمَ تُجْزَوْنَ الْعَذَابَ الْهُونَ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَقُولُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ غَيْرَ الْحَقِّ وَكُنْتُمْ عَنْ آيَاتِهِ تَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. Who is more unjust than the person who fabricates a falsehood about God or says, divine revelation has been sent to me, even though no divine revelation came to him, and than the person who claims, I shall reveal similar to what God has revealed? And would that you had been with these unjust people, would be in the unconsciousness of state, and angels with outstretched hands would be demanding from them, come, hand over your souls. Today you will be meted out a humiliating punishment because of this crime of yours, that you would fabricate falsehood about God and arrogantly evade his revelations. So basically, as you can see, that this verse refers to their indulgence in polytheism, and it is regarded as a false blame because the polytheists would concoct deities and then claim that God had made them his partners. And as I have just said, this was the greatest crime that was committed by the Quraysh, or the tribe of the Prophet. So mentioning after this mischief mongers of the people of the book, the Quran has now directed the attention to them and mentioned this crime the foremost. So as far as the incident is concerned, that this is a reference to the nonsensical talk uttered by the leaders of the Quraysh, so that people were not influenced by the claim made by the Prophet that he was speaking on behalf of God, and the words had been revealed to him by an angel. So who is more unjust than the person who fabricates a falsehood about God or says divine revelation has been sent to me, even though no revelation or no divine revelation came to him, and then the person who claims, I shall reveal similar. So that it is something that they would try to make the same claim, that I can reveal divine revelation as God does, and the fact that I can reveal something similar to God, what God has done. So there could be no other person, there could be no person who is so who's taken to such instances that he is not able to even understand that this is like lying against the claim that he is making. So the general principle that when a truth manifests itself, those who are struck with arrogance, they feel helpless against it. So through such imposing statements, they try to secure their position so that the common masses who have been deceived by them do not lose confidence in them and accept the truth. But until when they can put up such show of artificial courage and its proclamation, they evade this reality. And therefore these boasters have to concede their defeat. This is something that has to happen. And then the next word which is said is that وَلَوْ تَرَى إِذِ الظَّالِمُونَ فِي غَمَرَاتِ الْمَوْتِ وَالْمَلَائِكَةُ بَاسِطُو أَيْدِيهِمْ. And would that you had seen these unjust people would be in the unconsciousness of death. So again, this unconsciousness of death is something which is portrayed here in a very, very special way, which means that they are the ones whose death will be taken, whose souls will be claimed by the angels in such a way that these angels would be spreading their hands and saying that, come on with us. أَخْرِجُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ الْيَوْمَ تُجْزَوْنَ عَذَابَ الْهُونِ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَقُولُونَ. And today you will be meted out a humiliating punishment a punishment that is something that will be given to you because you have been lying about God. And this is something that will never ever be of benefit to you. So the style of this discourse, as you can see, changes from direct to indirect, from one angle to another angle. This shift in direct to indirect style, in which you address a reality and then you turn away from that reality, it is brought forth, it brings forth the horror of the day of judgment before one's eyes, as if it has actually arrived and one was being addressed. So if you see that the first part of this verse is in the indirect in the indirect sense, which means that it is a reported speech. But now suddenly in the last part, it is as if it is being addressed directly to them. Al-yawma tujzawna azab al-huni bima kuntum taqulun, that today, as if the day has arrived, the day of judgment has arrived. Today you will be facing with this humiliating punishment because you said things that were absolutely against the truth. And then it is said, وَكُنْتُمْ عَنْ آيَاتِهِ تَسْتَكْبِرُونَ, and because of the fact that you were evading the verses of the Quran and you were showing arrogance against them. وَلَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا فُرَادًا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ وَتَرَكْتُمْ مَا خَوَّلْنَاكُمْ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِكُمْ وَمَا نَرَى مَعَكُمْ شُفَعَاءَكُمْ الَّذِينَ زَعَمْتُمْ أَنَّهُمْ فِيكُمْ شُرَكَاء لَقَدْ تَقَطَّعَ بَيْنَكُمْ وَضَلَّ عَنْكُمْ مَا كُنْتُمْ تَزْعُمُونَ. See, you have finally come to us alone as we created you the first time, leaving behind all that we bestowed on you in the previous world. And we also do not see with you your intercessors, about whom you claimed they are our partners in your affairs. All your ties have been broken, and whatever notions you had formed have turned out baseless. So clearly, as you can see, this is like adding insult to injury. The view that God has partners and they will intercede on their behalf has turned out to be baseless. Now you can see this is a very common feature of the Quran, that once the day of judgment is mentioned, then the Quran starts to talk about that day of judgment as if it has taken place already. And the dialogue that will take place on that occasion, you'll find the Quran is replete with such dialogues, in which the deities or the people who were supposed to be worshipped, or who were actually worshipped in the previous world, they would disown the worshippers and themselves say that we never asked you to worship us. So a very common feature of the Quran, in which once the day of judgment, the talk about the day of judgment arrives, then there is a portrayal as if the day of judgment is taking place right in front of our eyes. And this is the beauty of the Quran, viewers, that we have to appreciate. And this is also a very special feature of a book in which the discourse is in the form of a dialogue. And this dialogue is actually something that shifts from back and forth in a way that it becomes direct, it becomes indirect, and then it portrays the whole situation in such an emphatic way that we feel that we are being part of that situation. And if you are able to understand and grasp the original Arabic words as well, then the effect is even more pronounced, because now you feel as if you are in the middle of something. And this is a very special and a very profound aspect of the Quran that we may grasp, inshallah, as we go along in our studies. So the Quran has said that you will come to us, and God says that you will come to me the way I sent you in this world alone. You were alone when I sent you, and you come to me, you'll be alone as well. There's going to be no one with you. When you went in this world, there was no one with you. When you come to me, you'll be coming all alone. There would be no intercession for you. There will be nothing, even the closest of your relations, your father, your mother, your brother, your family, they will not be there in any way to support you. So remember, in this world, our family, our extended family, our brotherhood, our tribe, our clan, they are a big means of support. And if you particularly look at the time when the Quran was being revealed, it was a tribal society. The Arab society was a tribal society. The tribes had a very strong say, and they were a big support, and it was like a big family, in fact. So the Quran is making this point that this support that you have, it's not going to be there when you wake up in the next world. You will be standing all by yourself. Not a single soul will be there for you to be supported. You'll be standing on the basis of your deeds before God, and the intercessors that you believe would be there for you, they would disown you, and they will not be there. And as you can see, the words are, and we do not see with you any of your intercessors about whom you claim that they are our partners in your affairs. So God is going to speak to them that where are your partners? Where are the intercessors that you claimed? So وَمَا نَرَى مَعَكُمْ شُفَعَاءَكُمْ الَّذِينَ زَعَمْتُمْ أَنَّهُمْ فِيكُمْ شُرَكَاء. So that is like, as I said, adding insult to injury. And a person, of course, is not aware of this humiliation that is going to take place. And it is a very, very special aspect of the Quran. You can call it a favor of the Quran, that it portrays this event that's going to take place in the future in such an effective way that you feel that it has, I mean, you have to stand guard on that. Otherwise, it's going to really take its toll. And so it is that living relationship with this book of God that makes us connected to God Himself and to divine revelation, in a sense that we find as if we have that link, that missing link that perhaps was not there, and it was causing that disruption between ourselves and God. But once you do that, once you're able to understand the Quran and you're linked with God, you find as if you are in His protection. And this protection is something that we really should marvel about. إِنَّ اللَّهَ فَالِقُ الْحَبِّ وَالنَّوَى يُخْرِجُ الْحَيَّ مِنَ الْمَيِّتِ وَمُخْرِجُ الْمَيِّتَ مِنَ الْحَيِّ ذَلِكُمُ اللَّهُ فَأَنَّىٰ تُؤْفَكُونَ. It is God who splits asunder the seed and the fruit stone. It is He who brings forth the living from the dead, and it is He who brings forth the dead from the living. Such is God. Then where do you turn away? He alone brings forth the dawn. So, Inna Allah Falikul Habbi wa Naba, God who splits asunder the seed and the fruit stone. What does that actually mean? It actually means that people should look at the small seed and the fruit stone in it. Who is it that makes it burst forth from the depths of the earth and then causes the shoots of trees and plants to sprout from them? It is only God's power. It is only His potent strength that has bestowed each and every seed and each and every fruit stone with such potential. It was a tiny, eeny, weeny, bitsy piece of matter, and it blossomed out into a big tree, or had the potential of blossoming out. So it is God who directs all the elements of nature to help in nurturing that tree or that seed. And do people see anything but the hand of God in this? I mean, what else except the hand of God is working? They know full well that it is God alone who, from a seed and a fruit stone, has, and to everything in the universe. I mean, if you go on at the macro level, you'll see that everything is being governed in a very precise way by the Almighty. So if anyone has a slightest of authority, then nothing of these would either have been created or played its role. I mean, without that, that would not have been possible. Even life on the planet Earth, as we can see, it has become possible because of several permutations and combinations going right. If the sun had been even slightly away or slightly closer, life would not have been possible. If the alternation of the day and night had a different pattern, life would not have been possible. If the mineral content of the earth was different, life would not have been possible. If the atmosphere was not set in a particular ratio between oxygen and nitrogen and other gases, life again would not have been possible. So you see, all these things have been made possible with so much precision that you just cannot in any way deny that there is someone who is behind all this. And if He has partners, then why should not He be the first one to disclose those partners? What does He have against humanity? He would have been the first one to do it. And this is the claim of the Quran, which it repeatedly mentions, that if I had partners, God says, I would have been the first one to disclose it. I don't need partners. I am governing the whole quantum the way I have created it. This whole continuum of space and time is something that I have created. I am going to dismember it after some time and then recreate mankind. Falikul Isbah wa ja'ala al-layla sakanan wa ash-shamsu wal qamara husbana zalika taqdirul azizil alim. It is He who has made the night. It is He who has made the night a thing of comfort and placed the sun and the moon with a measure. These are the measures of that mighty God, of the mighty one, the all-knowing. So as I just said, the way He makes the earth and the way He is employing all the elements of nature for the benefit of mankind, for the creation of human beings, that He has made the night peaceful for their own comfort. Our body is tuned to the night to sleep. We normally fall asleep at night, and nighttime is conducive to sleep. Daytime is not conducive to sleep. and it is more conducive to your work ethic and your work environment. And precisely for that reason, our body is more geared towards work when we get up in the morning. So you see, the elements of nature are in harmony with our own bodily requirements. And then it's not just the night and day. Wal kamara, ashamsu wal kamara husbana. The sun and the moon, they are placed with a measure, which means that they come and they play their role, and that role is something which causes the night and day to take place. And also we know that as far as the moon is concerned, it has its effect on water, on low tide and high tide. This is something that science has also explained, but much later, of course. But it is the moon which causes these tides, and these tides are then either beneficial, of course, or at times they become really a big nuisance for people who are setting sail in certain oceans, and therefore they have to be very, very careful about whether it's high tide time or it's low tide. So high tide and low tide itself is something that is caused by the movement of the moon as well. وَهُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ النُّجُومَ لِتَهْتَدُوا بِهَا فِي ظُلُمَاتِ الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ قَدْ فَصَّلْنَا الْآيَاتِ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْلَمُونَ. It is He who has made the stars for you so that you may be guided by them in the darkness of the desert and the sea. We have made evident our revelations to those who want to know. So again, وَهُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ النُّجُومَ. Remember, the watches that we have today, the atomic clocks, the electron clocks, all these were non-existent. So the only way to find out time at night was through the movement of the stars. And the Arabs, and of course many ancient nations, they were well versed regarding finding out the time by tracing a certain pattern in the sky and by witnessing it. So therefore we have to be we have to understand that as far as God is concerned, He is going to He has made it a point to make us understand the way He works in so many ways, right, left and center. He has created in a way, He has created so many things in the way that when we reflect on them, when we are able to absorb them, we come to the conclusion that every single element of nature has been made to guide mankind in some way or the other. So remember, it's not very long ago when people would find the time from the stars, and also at night time when they would travel, they would find those stars beneficial in their traveling routes as well. And that is precisely what the Quran has said here. قَدْ فَصَّلْنَا الْآيَاتِ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْلَمُونَ, which means that we have made our revelations to those who want to know. And then وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَنْشَأَكُم مِّن نَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ فَمُسْتَقَرٌّ وَمُسْتَوْدَعٌ قَدْ فَصَّلْنَا الْآيَاتِ لِقَوْمٍ يَفْقَهُونَ. It is He who has created you from a single being. Then for each there is a resting place and also a resting place of burial. We have fully explained our signs to those who want to understand. Again, something that we have to understand, that it is the Almighty who has created you from a single being, expressing the fact that as far as we are concerned, as far as human beings are concerned, they should know that they have been created from a single parent, of course, and that parent, of course, is Adam. With him is Eve, and through Adam and Eve progressed the whole of mankind. And the objective of raising this point, viewers, is that to make us understand that human beings are one large family. There should be no difference between us as far as human beings are concerned, and people should not think themselves superior to other beings because they are born of the same species, they are born from the same parent. So any difference in any level of humanity and thinking other people to be inferior is something that is absolutely uncalled for. And the Quran uses this theme abundantly, that if you're created from one soul, if your progenitors are the same, how can some of you think that you are superior to others? As human beings, you cannot be superior. Yes, if anything that can make you superior, it is in the eyes of God, and it is God's domain to judge you, and He's going to judge you, and He is the only being who can in fact judge justly, because for all the rest we don't have the full information as far as the deeds are concerned. وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَأَخْرَجْنَا بِهِ نَبَاتَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ فَأَخْرَجْنَا مِنْهُ قَدِرًا نُخْرِجُ مِنْهُ حَبًّا مُتَرَاكِبًا وَمِنَ النَّخْلِ مِنْ طَلْعِهَا قِنْوَانٌ دَانِيَةٌ وَجَنَّاتٍ مِنْ أَعْنَابٍ وَالزَّيْتُونَ وَالرُّمَّانَ مُشْتَبِهًا وَغَيْرَ مُتَشَابِهٍ انظر إلى ثمره إلى أسمر إذا أسمر وينعه إن في ذلكم لآيات لقوم يؤمنون. It is he who has sent down water from the sky, then with it we brought forth the buds of everything, then from it we raised lush green branches from which we create the multi-layered grains, and palm trees laden with clusters of dates are also created from it, and we have also brought into existence from it orchards of grapes and olives and pomegranates, whose fruits are alike and also different. Mushtabihan wa ghayru mutashabih. Unzuru ila samarihi idha asmara wa yan'ihi. That would mean that look at the fruit of each of these when it grows, and behold its ripening when it ripens. In these there are extraordinary signs for those who want to believe. Liqawmi ya'lamun or liqawmi yu'minun. All these words we know from the Quran. They have a very special place in the Quran as far as God's knowledge is concerned. He wants us to find that guidance, to strive to find that guidance. And God says that if you are people who would like to have knowledge, then as the Quran has said elsewhere, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those who strive in our cause, it is our responsibility to guide them. So if you find that guidance to be something that you'd like, then don't ever think and don't ever go to anywhere else. It is God Himself who is going to guide you. He is there for you. And if you look at the various creations, the way He has created the sun, the moon, the stars, and now as you can see that in this particular verse, we find the orchards and the gardens, and the way the palm trees and the lush spikes and the bunches that were produced in multi-layered grains, they have been projected. And after grain, fruits are mentioned, and dates are referred to the most foremost, because we know that this was the staple fruit in Arabia. Dates were the staple fruit, and the way they are mentioned, it shows that our attention must be focused on their trees, on the buds being created in these trees, and from these buds, heavy hanging bunches coming into being, so that human beings are able to behold the creativity of God found in their initial appearance until the time they ripen. So you see, if you look at the imagery, the way the Quran is presented, that there are some buds who are hanging in a way that they are multi-layered, there are others who are hanging singularly. And this variety shows the extent of creativity of God. So merely by reflecting on this creativity, a person can comprehend the Creator and has some idea of His power, wisdom, mercy, and providence. And the obvious reason of this is that people are able to have cognizance and comprehension of God. Otherwise, as far as the needs, of mentioning dates or other means of sustenance is concerned, it is not essential that a small fruit seed gradually become a large tree. Then at one stage, buds and then spikes come out. And after that, fruitlings develop, which gradually mature into fruits whose bunches, because of their weight, hang low. And all this is by its very existence. So all this by its very existence invites people to deliberate on them. So why did God make this go through this gradual process in such an elaborate way? Our hearts bear witness that all this elaborate arrangement is for the reason that the secrets of God's power, providence, and wisdom are revealed to people. They are able to understand that the Creator who has created them has such profound wisdom, has such profound power, and hence recreating mankind is not an issue in His own dictionary. He can just do it in the blink of an eye. He did it before, He's going to do it again. And the way humankind has been created in so many ways, in such a gradual way, and we know that human beings have appeared on the face of the earth after thousands and millions of years perhaps, in which the earth has gone through so many other ages like the Ice Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, and it was much later that human beings came on the face of the earth. Again, a witness to the creativity, the power, and the profundity of God. So again, as you can see, that these instances are basically meant to invite us. They are meant to focus our attention, to direct our attention to the bare nature that is around us. The nature that is around us is the biggest teacher that we have. The Quran in front of us and the nature around us. This is something that is going to teach us. And of course, if you add this to your own microcosm, your own existence, the conscience that you have, the awareness that you have, you can add up all these three things. the person within you and the earth and the wisdom and the knowledge that you have as a result of reflecting on the phenomena that are outside you. If you combine them, and no person of intellect, no person of intuition can ever think that they could be, all this could have happened by chance. وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ شُرَكَاءَ الْجِنِّ وَخَلَقَهُمْ وَخَرَقُوا لَهُ بَنِينَ وَبَنَاتٍ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى عَمَّا يَصِفُونَ. Yet, such is the extent of their foolishness that they regard the jinn as God's equals, even though He Himself has created them, and without any knowledge have invented sons and daughters for Him. Glorious and exalted is He above what they say. So, now once again, this is another form. This is another form of polytheism that was found amongst the Arabs. And what was that? That they would also worship the jinn. They would regard them to be God's equals. And they would invent sons and daughters for them as well. And this is something again which the Quran says, Subhanahu wa ta'ala amma yasifun, that they don't realize that what they are doing is absolutely baseless. It has absolutely no grounds. It lacks any foundation. How can this happen and not be understood and planned about? So, as far as creating is concerned, God has created it. And as far as associating partners with God is concerned, again, this is something that in no way be understood unless, of course, a person is bent upon fabrication and concoction. So, also we have to understand that the people of Arabia regarded the angels to be the daughters of God. They would make their likenesses regarding them to be their deities, and they would worship them. And a similar attitude was adopted by the Christians regarding Jesus, and they regarded Him to be the Son of God. And all this was done without any logical or scriptural argument. And that is something that was enough to infuriate God. And of course, any person who insists arrogantly on something that is unfounded is going to have the same effect as far as we human beings are concerned. So, بَدِيعُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ أَنَّا يَكُونُ لَهُ وَلَدٌ وَلَمْ تَكُنْ لَهُ صَاحِبَةٌ وَخَلَقَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. It is one. He is one who has brought the heavens and the earth into existence from nothingness. How should He have children when He does not even have a wife? How should He have children when He does not even have a wife? He has created all things and has knowledge of all things. He has created all things and He has knowledge of all things. So, the first thing that the Quran has said here is Badi'us samawati wal ard. Now, this is something that totally confounds us. It's beyond our human understanding. And that is that God creates out of nothingness. I mean, we just cannot imagine how can that be possible, because we are not used to this. We create from something. We always have a raw material. We have something to work on and then we create. But it is mind-boggling to think that God creates something out of nothing. So ibda, the Quranic term ibda, and that is where the word badi'us samawat comes. It says that He creates the heavens and the earth without any raw material. From nothingness they come into existence. Of course, a concept that is hard and difficult to grasp, because we are not used to such things. We are always used to things that we create or we develop, but we do have some raw material. And then it is said, how of course can you ascribe children to Him? How of course can you ascribe children to Him when He does not even have a wife? So when they do not regard Him to have a wife, then how do they ascribe children to Him? They also acknowledge that He is the creator of everyone. Then it is strange that they still regard the angels, the jinn kind and the human kind to be His associates in His being and in His kingdom. So this is utter foolishness. And this utter foolishness is something that has been perpetrated by the nobility and by the intellectuals of those times. Zalikumullah. Zalikumullahu Rabbukum la ilaha illahu khaliqu kulli shay'in fa'buduhu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in wakil. That very God is your Lord. There is no God but Him, the creator of all things. Therefore, worship Him only, and He is the guardian of all things. Again, something which is very, very important, that God, this God that you have in front of you, He has these attributes. This is how He creates. This is how He makes human beings understand that if they reflect on their own creation and they reflect the system of the universe around them, the microcosm inside of them and the macrocosm outside of them is enough to make them understand the existence of a creator. And of course, if there is to be more than one creator, then it was the creator himself who would have been the first to inform them. And in the absence of that, if they do so, if they insist on this, then they are doing something which is grossly foolish, and it shall be punished in a very, very heinous way. So these are the attributes of God that have been mentioned. La ilaha illahu, He is only one. Khaliqu kulli shay, He has created everything. Fa'budu, so therefore He has to be worshipped. Worship Him only. If He is the creator, how can people worship other people? That is the basic stance of the Quran. And then finally it is said, La tudrikuhul absar wa huwa yudrikul absar wa huwa latiful khabir. Eyes cannot see Him, though He is able to see the eyes. He is very discerning and all-knowing. So viewers, we know very well that human eyes have not been equipped to see God. How God, what exactly is the nature of His being, how He is composed of, that is absolutely something that we cannot comprehend, because our eyes can only comprehend what they can actually potentially see in a certain way. So regarding God, the Quran informs us that His substance, His being in such a form that our eyes, the way they are in this world, they cannot comprehend Him. They cannot see Him. For that you need another pair of eyes, another set of eyes would perhaps would be given in the hereafter, but in this world you cannot see God. Hence, the stress of the Quran is that instead of demanding to see God, because we know that this was the demand of the people of the book, they wanted that if there is a God, then they should be shown that God. So the Quran has made it clear that if you have to understand God, then you must understand God through various other phenomena that point to His existence. As far as seeing Him through the naked eye is concerned, this is virtually not possible, because eyes are not equipped for such a view. This topic is still going on. Inshallah, we'll take up the rest in our next session. And for the moment, if you have any questions on what we have studied, please raise them.
Yeah. My question relates to verse 93. The sentence starts with Walau tara is zalimuna fi ghamaratil maut. Here the walau is harf shart. And with this starts, and that it ends at an ayatihi tastakbirun. Here jawab shart, I can't see it. It appears mahzuf. What's the reason that law is harf shart and jawab shart is mahzuf? What's the reason?
So, I mean, this is something very obvious. When I say these words of regarding something horrific, I say that look what will happen when this and this happens. So you don't need to actually express those things in words. It is understood when it is said that look, when angels will be coming to extract their souls by their very hands, look at that instant. Obviously the answer to this conditional sentence is that what a horrifical happening that would be. You only need to witness it. So this is something that we use in our own language as well. When we would like to portray the horrific nature of something, or of the very, I would say, majestic nature of something, we just point to the phenomena itself and then leave the answer to the imagination of the viewers, because it is so understood. I don't need to answer it. When I say look at him, and when I say look at him, my purpose is to tell you that look at him, or look at the person, what sort of a person he is, look at the style that he has adopted, and it is something which is unbecoming of him. And so you see, the situation is such which is conveying the answer. When I'm saying look at him, that look at him is enough for my viewers to understand that I am basically trying to make other people realize that if you look at such a person and just reflect, you'll understand that he stands nowhere. So this is an example that I wanted to give you so that you can understand that the Quran employs this style in a very common way. It says to you, look at that, and look at afala yanzuruna ilal ibil, look at the camel. But here you will find that the Quran has actually introduced the camel and then given the answer, and the answer is kayfa khuliqat, look at the camel. But had the answer not been given, for example, kayfa khuliqat, and the Quran would have just said look at the camel, what would the purpose? Obviously the purpose would be to look at the composition of the camel, look at the usefulness of the camel, look at how it has been made useful for the Arabs of those times. So at times the Quran does answer these conditional clauses, and at times it leaves them to the imagination of the readers. And on most occasions, it leaves the answers to the imagination of the onlookers or the believers, because the answer is obvious. It is either something majestic, something very profound, or something very horrific, and the context will tell you.
Thank you, Dr. Saleem. Osama, please unmute your mic.
Assalamu alaikum. My question is, sir, that as you have mentioned in the ayah, that the God has created things from nothing, and there's another part where it discusses about the Big Bang, and the existence of the God in the clouds before nothing. So how could you relate that with the Big Bang, that he has created this world, the universe, after that Big Bang? So there is something. So it's very hard to understand this concept of nothing, creating things from nothing.
So that is why you see the concept of Wahdatul Wujud came into being, because it was difficult to explain to people. So when Muslims came into debate with a lot of Christians, and not just Christians but many other rationalists, for them it was absolutely difficult to explain that how can something be created out of nothingness. So the classical Sufistic view is that this universe was not created. Basically, it is a manifestation of God himself. So it is God diluted that you find in the form of this universe. It's God himself that has assumed the shape of this universe. Because, of course, this was the big challenge for them, that when people objected that how can something be created out of nothingness. So the only logical explanation that people could come up with is that no, actually it's not out of nothingness, it is God's substance himself that manifested into this universe. I'm just giving you this answer to let you know that this is a question that has puzzled so many people over the centuries, and because they could not find a proper answer to it, the only thing that they could think of was what I've just described, that what we call as Wahdatul Wujud, that the being is one, existence is one, and that existence is just manifesting itself into a different form. But the Quranic view is absolutely different, and as you can see here, it says that out of nothingness he has created something. What we can understand out of this is that it is the power of God, it is the profundity of his power that we cannot understand, but that is exactly what the Quran is trying to tell us, that he is no ordinary creator, he does not need any raw material. That is precisely the point that is being made here. As far as the Big Bang is concerned, or other scientific theories of the creation of existence are concerned, I mean, they have no reflection on this fact, because you see, the Big Bang only reflects or only explains or a certain explosion that could have taken place, and it does not say that there was anything or nothing before that explosion. So it could be exactly in conformity with the creation of God, the way God is created, or it could have some different explanation. But currently, as we know, that in the if you look at the Big Bang, or how today's science explains the Big Bang, it does not say that there was anything before the Big Bang. There was nothing, and suddenly there was this big blast that creates something. So if you look at this in the sense that the Quran has described it, that Badius Samawati wal Ard, that out of nothingness something was created, I find it to be quite in harmony. The Big Bang was created out of nothingness.
Yeah, but so the concept of Wahdatul Wujud becomes, the concept itself is more related to this, when you compare it with the things comes out of nothing. The concept of Wahdatul Wujud itself is a more strong argument when we negate it.
Actually, yes, I know that it's a very strong argument, but the thing is that the Quran says that it was something was created. Had it been God himself manifesting in the form of the universe or the rest of the creation, God would have simply said that. So we don't find any source of Wahdatul Wujud within the Quran, although there are people who have tried to extract it, but the Quran has repeatedly said that it is an act of creation. Khalakas samawat. If you look at the word takhliq or khalq in the whole of the Quran, it is mentioned on numerous occasions, signifying the fact that it was an act of creation. Something was created. The only thing is that creation was from nothingness. The problem is there. Otherwise, the word khalaqa is used everywhere in the Quran. And according to linguistic expressions, it cannot refer to anything else but the act of creativity itself.
The existence of God is there. So, as they said, everything is come out of Him. But it says out of God is the reflection of God itself. So,
but where is this in the Quran?
No, I know, I understand that, but I mean, you have to be on something like to understand the thing. You have to be made yourself a concept of it. I mean, to make an understanding of that.
I mean, you see, that's what the Quran is telling us, that this is something that you cannot draw an analogy with. Human beings, they are prone to this, that they would need something to create something. There cannot be any analogy for that. This is the difference between our creation and God's creation. We need a raw material. We need something to create something. That is what precisely the Quran has said, that human creation and God's creation, there's no comparison.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Dr. Saleem, I have a chat question on the same concept of Wahdat al-Wujud. Could you explain it more?
So Wahdatul Wujud is a concept that has been put forth by classical Sufis like Ibn al-Arabi, like other people who belong to his category, and they say that God Himself manifested in this universe. It is as if He diluted His being and He became this universe, or the universe flowed out of Him, and therefore it's not something different from God. It is His own manifestation, and hence the word Wahdat. Wujud is one, oneness of being. Being is not separate. It was God, and that same being became this universe. I mean, I'm trying to oversimplify it. So there are no two separate existences. This is God Himself who has manifested in the form of this universe. This is how our classical Sufis or our classical mystics explain the act of creation.
Okay, so I'm asking this question now. So when we as people who are believing in this form of the understanding of the Quran that we're learning from you, when we step out in nature and we look at something and we say, oh my God, how can people not see that there's a God? God exists. When we see the running of the water or the magnificence of the mountains, that is very different from the way the Sufis are explaining it, right? We are seeing it because we understand the mechanics, and then we say, oh my God, only somebody could have created this. So you see almost like God is right there. But that is not the way the Sufis.
Of course, that's not the way they do it. I mean, so for us it is a creation of God, a profound creation that makes us realize that there's someone who is behind all this.
Right. Okay. Asif Saab, please ask your question.
This is regarding verse 95. Here it is said, Yukhrijul hayya min al-mayit. And then just after, it says, Mukhrijul mayya. Instead of Yukhrijul mayyita min al-hayyi. I mean, suddenly there is change from fail, it has become file.
Yes.
What's
So this
the
is
reason?
also,
I mean,
yeah,
it would have simply
yes,
Yukhrijul mayyita min al-hayy.
correct. So this is how we human beings would have put it. I mean, me and you would have done the same thing. But you see, when God changes the structure, there's some method to it, some reasoning behind it. So yukhrijul hayya min al-mayyit is in the form of a verb, which means that He is someone who brings the living from the dead. He is someone who brings forth the living from the dead. It is a verb expresses something which is done in a way in which the creativity aspect is there. I mean, something which is happening. So a verb is basically expressing that. But when you use the word some file, like the word mukhrij, He is one who does that. It expresses that stress, that added emphasis, that it is He who no one else except He who does this. He is the person, or He is the being who has these attributes, that He can bring the dead from the living, so to speak. So bringing the dead from the living, which of course would mean that a person who is living, he is put to death. So he is someone who passes away. It is only God who does that. Only God has this authority. So it's just adding that extra emphasis when the word adjective is used instead of a verb. So basically it's a comparison between a verbal use and an adjectival use. So adjectives, they create more emphasis instead of the verb.
Thank you, Dr. Saleem. Imran, please ask your question. Imran, you want to ask your question?
जी डॉक्टर साहब अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम।
डॉक्टर साहब, ये जो वहदतुल वजूद का अकीदा है इस्लाम में, ये सूफिया के अंदर जो आया, ये इंडिपेंडेंटली आया है या हम कह सकते हैं कि ये हिंदुओं के इन्फ्लुएंस से आया है, क्योंकि वो उनका तो ये बुनियादी अकीदा है हिंदुओं का।
You see, this is something which is a universal thing. It's not just, it's not something that Islamic Sufis say. It's something which predates Islam, something that predates religion, so to speak. So this is a very, very early concept, and one of the earliest. And it is found in Hinduism. It is found even in Buddhism to some extent. It is found in Christians as well, in a certain way as well. So it's not something that is particularly related to Islam. Islam has inherited it the way other religions have. So that is my explanation, I would say. It's independent, but as I said, it is like a heritage that we have.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saleem. So the question I have is, when God says in Ayah 95 that Yukrijul Hayya min al-Mayyit, so that means that He's extracting life from death, but death is not non-existence of anything. That is something. So does that mean we were dead before He created us? What is that?
No, this is just a symbolic way to express a certain reality, and this is a very special style of the Quran in what we call as mujanasa. Mujanasa means that you use the same genre. Of course, we were not dead, we were non-existent. But because of the word life and death that has been used subsequently, just to bring it in the same proportion, the word death has been used to connote non-existence. That we were not there and then we became something.
जी थैंक यू बिस्मा सर। ये जो वहदतुल वजूद का टॉपिक चल रहा है सर, ये मिस्टेक्स या सूफी जो भी थे, दे वर क्वाइट रिलीजियस पीपल और उनका काफी नॉलेज ऑफ कोर्स होता होगा। तो सर जस्ट एन ऑर्डिनरी पर्सन लाइक मी ने थोड़ा बहुत भी रिफ्लेक्ट किया है दीन पर, तो सर मुझे तो ये बात बिल्कुल नेचुरल सी नॉर्मल सी लगती है कि अल्लाह पावर, अल्लाह स्ट्रेंथ इतनी ज्यादा है कि वो ही कैन क्रिएट एनीथिंग तो आउट ऑफ नथिंग। तो सर वो इतना रिलीजियस होते हुए वो इस पार अल्लाह की इस पार को रजिस्टर नहीं कर सके, क्या हुआ सर?
So this is a question that you need to address to them. I cannot answer on their behalf.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I'm just going to start the literal and idiomatic translation. So the first verse is وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنِ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا. Wa and man who, azlamu, more unjust, mimman than he, iftara, concocts, Allah upon God, kaziba, a falsehood. So who is more unjust than the person who concocts a falsehood about God? Aw, or the one, qala, who said, uhiya, revealed to me, ilayya. So uhiya, revealed, ilayya to me, walam, whereas not, yuha, revealed, ilayhi, towards him, shay'un, anything. So two things are being said, that who is more unjust than the person who ascribes falsehood to God, and who can be more unjust than the person who says that I have received wahi, whereas he is not. Qala uhiya ilayya, I have received wahi, or he has received wahi, walam yuha ilayhi shay'un, whereas the fact is that he has revealed nothing, he is just lying, he is just claiming that I have received God's revelation. Wa, and man, he, qala, said, sa unzilu, indeed I shall very soon reveal, misla, the way, ma, anzalallah, the way God has revealed. So now another third category, that another person who says that I will reveal a revelation, I will reveal a wahi the way God reveals. So how can a person who claims these three things, or three people who claim these three different things, that they concoct a lie on God, which means that they associate partners with Him, or they say that I received wahi and they have not received wahi, or they say that I am going to reveal wahi, whereas of course they don't have the power. So this is like the Quran, as I said, adding insult to injury. Walau tara is zalimun, wa, and lau, when, tara, see, is, when you see them, is when, az-zalimun, the unjust, fi, in, Ghamaratil maut, the stupor of death, the unconsciousness of death. So ghamarat, the unconsciousness or the stupor, al-maut of death. Wa, and al-malaika, the angels. Basitu means overspread, as if they have spread their hands. Aydihim, their hands. So they would be outspreading their hands as if they are trying to claim their souls. And what will they say? Akhriju anfusakum. Bring out your nufus, bring out your souls, or hand us your souls. Hand me over your souls. That is what the angel will say. Al-yawm, today, tujzauna, you shall be given azab al-hun, a humiliating punishment. Bima kuntum, because you, taquluna, would say, alallahi, upon God, ghayr al-haq, something that was not the truth. Wa, and kuntum, you, an, from ayatihi, his revelations, tastakbirun, showed arrogance. So you are the ones who would say upon God or regarding God things that were absolutely baseless. They were iftara and they were not the truth. And you were the ones who evaded his verses, an ayatihi tastakbirun, by being arrogant. Wa, and lakad, indeed, ji'tumuna, you came to us, furada, alone. Kama, as, khalaqnakum, we created you, awwala marra, in the first instance. So you have come to us alone just as we created you alone and sent you in the world. وَتَرَكْتُمْ, and you left مَا خَوَّلْنَاكُمْ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِكُمْ. As you can see that we created you the first time, leaving behind all that we bestowed on you. وَتَرَكْتُمْ مَا خَوَّلْنَاكُمْ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِكُمْ, and you left behind مَا خَوَّلْنَاكُمْ, whatever we gave you, Vara'a, behind, zuhurikum, your back. So what is being said is that you have come to us absolutely alone, without anything. Vama nara, and we also did not see. Wa, and ma, not nara, see. Ma'akum, with you. Shufa'aukum, your intercessors. So this is God talking to them on the day of judgment. Remember, we discussed this, that at times the dialogue happens as if the thing is actually taking place at that time. Of course, the day of judgment has yet to come, but this is a style of the Quran, and that is precisely what is being, what you can see here, that it is God who says, as if these people have arrived before him, and God says that, where are your intercessors? I don't see them around you. You were worshipping other deities besides me, so where are they? So, وَمَا نَرَى مَعَكُمْ شُفَعَاكُمْ, we don't see any deities. الَّذِينَ زَعَمْتُمْ, those who za'amtum, you regarded, annahum, that they, fikum, about your matters, shuraka, partners. So we do not see with you your intercessors, about whom you had claimed, za'amtum, you had claimed that they are, who are they? They are our partners, shuraka, in your matters. Fikum, regarding you. So fikum is regarding you. Laqad taqatta'a bainakum, laqad, indeed, taqatta'a, severed or broke, bainakum, between you. So the ties broke between you, which means that anything that could have linked before you to each other, that has been broken. There's now no connection between the intercessors and the interceded for. وَظَلَّ عَنْكُمْ مَا كُنْتُمْ تَزْعُمُونَ وَظَلَّ عَنْكُمْ, and it just became, it totally turned into nothing. ظَلَّ عَنْكُمْ, it turned into nothing. مَا كُنْتُمْ, what you, تَزْعُمُونَ, what you claimed. And whatever you claimed, they have turned into nothing. ظَلَّ عَنْكُمْ, they have just left you. Inna Allah falikul habbi wan nawa. Inna, indeed, Allah, God, falik, who splits, al-hab, the seed, wa, and an-nawa, the fruit stone. So indeed, it is God who splits the seed and the fruit stone. Yukhrijo, brings out, al-hayy, what is living, min al-mayyit, from the dead. Wa, he, mukhrij, who brings out, al-mayyit, the dead, min al-haq, from the living. Zalikumullah, this is God. Fa'anna, where do you, tu'fakun, turn away. Falikul isbah. So falikul isbah means that he brings forth the dawn. Isbah is the same as subh. So Faliq brings forth Al-Isbah, the dawn. وَجَعَلَ اللَّيْلَ وَجَعَلَ اللَّيْلَ sakana. Wa and Ja'ala make al-layl, night, sakana, a place or an instance of comfort. So He it is who makes the night an instance of comfort. Sakana, comfort. Wa and Ash-Shams, the sun. Wa and Al-Qamar, the moon. Husbana, with a measure. So it is He who has made the night an instance of comfort for you, and it is He who has given the sun and the moon a measure, which means they have a certain law that they follow. Zalika, this, taqdeer, this is the measure, al-aziz, of the powerful, al-alim, of the knowledgeable. So this is the measure, or this is the law of the powerful and the knowledgeable, because it is through this that they are following what has been ordained for these heavenly bodies by God. Wa and huwa He, allazi who, ja'ala lakum, made for you, an-nujum, the stars, litahtadu biha, so that you can seek your way through them. Fi, in, zulumatin, at night, al-bar, on land, wal bahr, and on the sea. So at night time you can use the stars to find out your direction. Qad, indeed, fassalna, we have explained, al-ayat, the verses, liqaumin, for those people, ya'lamun, who want to know. So we have explained our verses for those people who want to know. Wa and huwallazi, it is He, ansha'akum, created you, min nafsin wahida, from a single soul. It is He who has created you from a single soul. Famustaqarrun, then there is a resting place. Wa and mustawda'un, a place where the person will be confined to the earth. So mustaqar means the place where he will be living when he would be living, and mustawda would be the place where he'll be consigned to when he is dead, referring to his grave. Qad, indeed, fassalna, we have explained, al-ayat, revelations, liqaumin, for people, yafqahun, who want to understand. Wa and huwallazi, it is He, anzala, revealed, minas sama, from the heavens, ma, water. So it is He who has sent down or revealed. Of course, the word revealed would not be appropriate here. The word would be sent down. So it is He who has sent down water from the skies. فَأَخْرَجْنَا, from it we have extracted, nabata kulli shay, buds, nabat, buds of everything. فَأَخْرَجْنَا minhu khadira, then from it we have raised green and lush branches. Khadira, lush branches. Nukhriju minhu, from which we bring forth habban mutarakiban. Habban, grains. Mutarakiban, which has different layers. So multi-layered grains. Wa and minan nakhli, from the palm trees. Min tal'iha, from its clusters. Qinwanun daniyatun, which have dates which are bending over. So daniyatun would mean they are bended over. Wa and jannat, and orchards, min a'nab, of grapes, and we have created orchards of grapes. Was zaytun, and of olives. So zaytun is olive. Wa rumman is pomegranate. Mushtabihan would mean some which are similar to one another. So these fruits which have been mentioned here, they are mentioned here in a sense that some of them are very like. I mean, there are so many different types of grapes, there are so many different types of olives and different types of rumman. So some of them are similar and others who are not similar to one another, referring to the variety that God has created. Unzuru, look, ila, towards, samarihi, their fruit, iza, when, asmara, when they bear fruit, wa, and yan'ihi, when they ripen. So again, the attention is being drawn to this natural phenomena, the way these grapes and these fruits develop, and it is said, unzuru, look at these fruits when they bear fruit and when they ripen. Wa yan'ihi, when they ripen. Inna, indeed, fi, in zalikum, in this, so in these la ayat are signs, liqaumin, for people, yu'minun, who want to believe. So inna fi zalikum would mean that in these there are signs for people who want to believe. Wa, and ja'alu, they have made, lillahi, with God, shuraka'a, partners. So they have made partners with God, who? Al-jinn. So they have made partners with God in the form of jinn. Wa khalaqahum, in although God creates, the fact is that God has created them and they have made these jinn partners of God. Wa kharaku lahu. Wa kharaku lahu would mean baneen wa banat, and they ascribe daughters and sons to him. So they kharaku lahu, they ascribe lahu to him, baneen, sons, banat, daughters. So they ascribed sons and daughters to him, bighayri ilm, without knowledge. So they are doing this in a baseless way. Subhana, exalted, he is glorified. Wa ta'ala, and mighty. Amma, from what? Yasifun, they attribute to him. So he is exalted and glorious from what they attribute to him, which means that he is much above what they attribute to him. Badius samawati wal ard. Badius samawat, he creates the heavens from nothing. Wal ard, and the earth also. So he has created the heavens and the earth out of nothing. Anna yakunu lahu walad. From where does a son come to him? Anna, where, yakunu is lahu, for him, walad, a son, walam, when the fact is there is no, lam takun, there is nothing for him, sahiba, a wife. So this is a little word, this is a closed little translation, otherwise for all practical purposes. The idiomatic translation is that how can he have children if he does not have a wife? Anna yakunu lahu walad, walam takun lahu sahiba, when he does not even have a sahiba, a wife, how can he have children? Wa, and khalaqa, he has created, kulla shayin, everything. Wa, and huwa, he, bikulli, thing, bikulli, every, shayin, thing, alim, knowledgeable. So he has knowledge of everything. Zalikumullahu rabbukum. This is the very God, your God. This is the very God, your Lord. La ilaha illahu. La, not. Ilaha, deity. Illa, except. Huwa, him. So there is no deity except him. Khaliqu, creator. Kulli shay, of everything. Fa'buduhu, so therefore worship him. Wa, and huwa, he. Ala, on. Kulli, every. Shay'in, thing. Wakil, he is someone who is the wakil of everything. He is the advocate of everything. He is someone who is going to protect them. So the word wakil here actually means, although of course in normal parlance it would mean someone who is a representative, but in the Arabic language it also means a protector or a guardian. So he is a protector or a guardian of everything. La, not. Tudrikuhu, not see. Al-absar, of course, is the plural of basar, which means eyes. So eyes cannot see him. La tudrikul absar, eyes cannot see him. Wa, and huwa, he. Yudrikul, see. Al-absar, the eyes. So eyes cannot see him, but he can see the eyes. Wa, and huwa, he. Al-latif, very discerning. Al-khabir, all-knowing. And he is all-knowing and he is discerning. So with this we come to an end to our literal and idiomatic translation, and so now we can once again have a Q&A session.
Shabana, please unmute your mic and ask a question.
डॉक्टर साहब यहाँ पर जो अल्लाह ताला कह रहे हैं कि वो उसकी तो कोई बीवी नहीं है और मतलब मुझे ये हो रहा है कि ये उनको जवाब देने के लिए अल्लाह ताला ये कह रहे हैं ना कि उसकी तो कोई बीवी नहीं है कि उसका बेटा हो, क्योंकि वरना अल्लाह ताला अगर चाहे तो उसके लिए तो वो भी मुश्किल नहीं है.
So you see, the thing is, the illogical inconsistency in their belief is being pointed to, that, if they would have wanted to ascribe children to him, they should have first ascribed a wife to him. So the foolishness is that why did not they first ascribe this? So it would have been very simple. Said first they would have ascribed that God has a wife, and then they would say that the wife and God himself together they have produced children. So the idiocy is being said that what you yourself would do is that you would have a wife and then have children. But how foolish you are that you are attributing children to him without attributing a wife to him, which is something you don't do in your own case. So it's basically trying to make them understand how illogical their claim is.
Shabnam, please ask your question.
जी थैंक यू सर इसी आयत के बारे में थोड़ी कंफ्यूजन सर मैं थोड़ा ध्यान से निकल गया सर इसमें इन आयात में या सूरह नाम में एड्रेस जो है वो प्रोबेबली मुशरिकीन मक्का को है इज इट सो
Correct.
फिर मैं आपसे
Yes.
तो राइट सर
Yes.
तो सर वो तो मतलब अल्लाह ताला के लिए बेटियां तराशते थे ना मलाइका को कहते थे एंजल्स को तो अल्लाह
Right.
ताला ने यहाँ पे बेटे का जिक्र किया है और बेटों का भी प्लूरल में तो सर ये इनडायरेक्टली तो मे बी कहीं क्रिश्चियंस के लिए हो कि वो उनको लेकिन सर बेटे का जिक्र भी मतलब प्लूरल में है तो सर फिर वो अल्लाह ने
You see, the word walad, when it is used, or banu, which is used in this sense, in linguistics, it's not just not the male gender which is implied. It is as if the word aulad is used in our own language. So, although the word aulad is the plural of walad, and walad means a boy, but when we say aulad, it does not mean boys. It means both boys and girls. So, in the Arabic language, when you use the word baneen or banoon at times, and you use the word walad at times, it is not to express the male gender all the time. On many occasions, it just says that you have children, regardless of the gender. They could be male and female.
Right, sir. Thank you so much.
Imran, please ask your question.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Saleem, for a very nice explanation. I wanted to ask about, like these attributes of God and stuff. In the West, the question gets asked about if God is so powerful, omnipotent, can he create a rock that he cannot lift? Can he create another God? Why can he not create another God? I know these questions sound stupid to us, but these people, they do bring up these questions. So how would you address something like that? Thank you.
I mean, if you would like to ask this question, that can God create something that he is not able, like for example, this is a very common question, that can he create a stone that he cannot lift? Yes, why not? I mean, if he can do something which is beyond him, I mean, that again is something which is something that only he can do. So the answer is yes. Why would
he do it?
Yes.
Why does he not do it?
I mean, why does he not do it? Again, that's another thing. I mean, he does not do it because it is against his wisdom. The thing is that he has the potential to do it. He has the capacity to do it. I mean, potential and capacity is one thing, and actually doing something is another thing. So he chooses not to do it. So this is like saying that gravity is the norm all over the earth. But if God chose, he could have just, selected a place which does not have a gravity. Instead of things going down, they could have gone up. But he has his potential, but he has not exercised his potential.
I see. That's a good point. Thank you. Yeah, there's a place in Pennsylvania, actually. If you're driving through it, you'll hear the cars go the other way because it doesn't have much gravity. There's an issue there. Thank you.
Yes, that's, I think, in Mecca.
Yes. There's a place in Mecca too, right? Thank you.
Shabnam, please ask your question.
Haji, thank you. Sorry, sir. I'm back to my previous question. Sir, आयत में बनीन और बनात separately mention हुआ है बेटे और बेटियों के लिए.
Yes. So you see, what I'm saying is, in general, when the word banoon is used alone, I mean, it does not necessarily imply. Of course, it's not. I'm not talking about here when both the female and the male child is used. So I was just referring to the fact that there are instances in the Quran where the word walad is used, but it does not refer to the male gender. It just refers to the existence of children.
तो सर यहाँ पर फिर मतलब
So of course, here it has been specified that he does not have sons and daughters.
लेकिन सर मैं तो कंफ्यूज इस बात से हो रही थी कि मैकल्स तो वो अल्लाह ताला के लिए बेटियां तराशते थे ना तो बेटे तो नहीं और अल्लाह ने एक आयत में स्पेसिफिकली कहा कि वो अपने लिए बेटे चाहते हैं और मेरे लिए बेटियां तराशते हैं तो मैं ये कंफ्यूज हो रही थी कि अगर ये मैकल सूरत है तो फिर इसमें हज़रत ईसा का तो अभी नहीं स्टार्ट हुआ.
No, of course this does not relate to. You see, this is one thing that we know, that they regarded angels to be the daughters of God. This does not preclude the fact that they also regarded they had a similar belief regarding the sons as well.
Right, sir.
So that's a separate thing. They should not be, that angels were the daughters of God, that's a separate information.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Jazakallah.
Does anybody have any more questions pertaining to the passage? Okay, Osama, go ahead, please.
Yes, the example you have just given about that that God has created a stone that he could not lift. This terminology is called mahal, right? If I'm not wrong.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I just want to confirm. Yeah, thank you.
Naushad Shafqat Sahab, please ask your question.
Salaam, sir. Sir, just explain
Right.
verse 103 that eyes cannot see him, though he is able to see the eyes.
So this is like similarity of verbs that are used or words that are used. Otherwise, he could just have said, you cannot see him, but he can see you. That is what the implied meaning is.
Okay, so I have one chat question. Under what circumstances can we make this dua from the Quran? ए मेरे रब मुझे अकेला ना छोड़ और तू ही सबसे बेहतरीन वारिस है.
So this is something which was, it was Zakaria alayhi salam who prayed, Yahya alayhi salam who prayed for this, and it of course refers to the fact that if I don't have a child, I will be left heirless. So God, please grant me a child. So this is normally a prayer that people utter who are childless couples. So they are said, they make this dua to God, that God, don't leave us alone in this world. We would like someone to inherit us. Anta khairul warisin, and you're the best of those who can do so.
Thank you, Dr. Saleem. Bhatti Sahab, please ask your question.
थैंक यू मैम. अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर. सर अभी आपने मेंशन किया कि मक्का में कोई जगह है यहाँ पर ग्रेविटी नहीं है, वो जरा एक्सप्लेन करेंगे मुझे.
I mean, this is not what I said, there is no gravity. The thing is that there is a place, it's called the Wadi of, or the Valley of the Jinn. And if you look it up, or you Google it, you'll come to know more about it. So it says that normally, if you are on an incline, in normal places, and when you place your car on an incline, it should go down, isn't it? Because that's the natural way. But in that particular area, the car does not go down. It stays there, or some people claim that it actually moves in the opposite direction. Similarly, if you throw some water up, it does not come down. It stays up and goes up and does not come down. And so there have been researches on this, that this is a place that has been inhabited by the jinn, and they maybe are causing some disturbance, and that is why it is called the Valley of the Jinn. But to date, I don't find any. This is an area of investigation, which is, investigation is still going on. I'm sure there is some explanation. It's an exception to the general scientific phenomena that we are aware of. But I think that it's just a question in which science will one day be able to unravel that why is this happening. So I would say this is just an exception, and you can know more about it if you just Google it.
No, I was seeing the pictures of YouTube. I never understood. I thought maybe it was just
No,
fabrication.
it's not fantasy. It's not fantasy.
Okay, thank you, sir. Jazakallah khair.
Okay, any more general questions? If anybody has any questions, please raise your hands because we have some time left. Okay. Okay, Dr. Saleem, I'll ask you a question. So, at the time of when Moses was taking the people away and Pharaoh's army was drowned by the water, was it the river that parted, or the sea that parted, or was it some kind of a flood? Because I was watching a television series, and it was a documentary, and when floods come, they arrive suddenly. So
No, it is clear from the Quran that a very strong wind blew on the Red Sea, and it parted into two separate sections. So that wind caused that displacement of water.
Okay. Okay. So the same question, Dr. Saleem, about the Varis one. So does it mean we cannot make this prayer other than the desire for a child?
No, of course we can. It's not something specific. The words are more suitable for that. But if there is any other situation to which it can apply, obviously it can use. And just a small correction, I was just Googling the Valley of Jinn. I'd like to correct myself. It's not in Mecca, it is in Medina. And so I'm just going to read out a very small part. It says that It is a mysterious valley near Medina, Saudi Arabia, known for an apparent optical illusion where vehicles seem to roll uphill. While locals attribute this to jinns, supernatural creatures, the phenomenon is likely caused by a combination of the road's topography appearing to slope upwards and potentially strong magnetic forces in the surrounding mountains which create a reverse gravity effect. So you see, it has already been explained, and I was just trying to recall that. I was not being able to remember. So these are the words that I wanted to share with you, that basically it's not something which is or something which is a miraculous or something which is different. It is just that a stronger magnetic force exists in that place because of the composition of the mountains, perhaps because of sandstones or other material, that gives an anti-gravitational effect to all metals, and it sort of propels them away. So yes, as I said, it is a scientific explanation for that, and there's no need to attribute it to jinn.
Okay, Dr. Saleem, I do not have any raised hands right now, so we will end the session. If anybody has any questions, raise your hands. Otherwise, I'm going to be ending the session. Okay, we have one message. Okay, go ahead, Abid. Please ask your question if you have a question.
Ji, Doctor, Assalamu alaikum. Doctor, my question is regarding the Arza Akhiriya, when the Prophet was reciting and the Jibreel was listening, and the Jibreel was reciting and the Prophet was listening. So it's been saying that there are so many people who are witness at that time, especially Sahaba. So have they seen the Jibreel physically or?
None of them. No. So none of them has ever claimed that they saw Gabriel, because you see, the Prophet was talking and the Prophet was listening. He might have seen him, but none of the Sahaba has ever said that they actually spotted Gabriel.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Saleem. I'll be ending the session now, and inshallah, we'll be meeting again next Saturday, and then, of course, for textual study on Sunday. Thank you for a wonderful session, Dr. Saleem, and we are so happy to have you back, and the session's going again. Thank you. Khuda Hafiz, everyone.